I kind of like having a 30-second intro thing to let me get my shit in order. It's kind of nice. I like that. How you guys doing tonight? This is To a Taco Tuesday with E Honda and friends. I like calling them friends instead of friends. Hey, a wild Yeti has appeared.
Hey, what's up?
Where do you guys live at? Like the Yetis? Why can we not find you? Why has no hunter ever shot you and like brought you back to civilization and proven your existence?
Right. We're pretty hard to find.
Like seriously, like if Yetis are actually real, which I'm not saying that they're not, but let's say that they are, how have they fucking escaped capture or like us stumbling upon a dead one, you know, like in the woods, like a tree falls on one or something?
What if they ascend when they die?
Like Jesus?
Yeah, or, Ezekiel. Jesus isn't the only one who ascended.
Ezekiel ascended?
I believe so. I think there's 3 in the Bible, like the normal Bible ascended, if I'm correct.
Well, they brought Lazarus back.
Yeah, he didn't ascend.
And then Jesus came back. And then there's the rapture where everyone ascends, right? And I was thinking about this. Tell me what you think. The book of Revelations, where the idea of the rapture and things like that come from, right? Basically. I mean, because it's not in there, it's kind of inferred from there, if that makes sense. But the idea of the rapture was from a vision. Was it John? I forget which apostle it was that had the book of Revelations was like shown to them in a dream and a vision, you know?
Yeah, it was one of the Johns, and they went to an island and had that vision.
Yeah, I mean, my Christianity is not the strongest, you know, but I know enough to be dangerous with it, I guess. But yeah, I don't know, dude. Like, I'm not sure about that one. But what if you were some 2,000-year-old fucking apostle of Jesus who was given a vision from God about the future, right? And in that future, there were like nukes going off and stuff and like tanks and fucking like crazy stuff going on, and you didn't really understand what was happening. And so how would you describe it? Like horsemen, and one was in a pale horse, and there were angels blowing trumpets, and fucking everyone just like vanished and went to heaven, right? Like all that stuff. Wouldn't it be like a nuclear war? Like see the fucking planes and the tanks and the nukes going off and people vaporizing and being turned to dust in an instant.
Fire raining down from the heavens, man.
Yep. My stepdad used to say that when they talked about scorpions in the sky that would take people away for like 6 months or something, that represented like helicopters, like Apache helicopters coming in and snatching fools up.
That makes sense.
Yeah. How else would you describe that if you're having a vision of the future? And a helicopter could theoretically be a scorpion, I suppose.
Especially if like your entire life experience is like the backs of donkeys and like wearing fucking like rags. You know what I mean?
Toga.
It was just kind of a weird side note. Sorry about that, everybody. I hope everyone's doing good tonight. Hey, look, we got a bunch of other people here. We were joined by an Ohio Patriot, too. How are you doing, Ohio?
I'll be doing better when I get to the new place, finally.
It's like the never-ending story, huh?
We are hoping for this week at some point because they're finally closing on the place.
Well, I hope the best for you, good sir. We have a legally, lawfully armed here in the house, following all the laws. Legally. And a muffin top. What's up, man?
I just got back from pulling somebody out of a ditch.
Oh, that was kind of you. Did you do that out of the goodness of your heart, or were you paid to do so?
I didn't get paid. I didn't even get a thank you, which pissed me off.
Wow.
They didn't even say thank you?
Nope. And what's worse is it was my grandma's driveway, so now I have to fix all the grass they tore through, like fucking 20 foot of their 4-foot ditch, and they almost hit their culvert pipe.
Wow.
I know, I was so pissed.
Yeah.
And I'm freezing my dick off now.
I would have taken a picture of their license plate on the way out since they didn't say thank you. And then been like, damage to my property.
Well, my grandparents let him in, and my grandpa showed his pistol because they were smoking weed. And he's like, "Don't be stealing any of my shit."
Uh-oh.
So
they were so high they went off the road.
Yeah.
Crashed into the ditch on your grandparents' property.
Yeah.
He invited them in and showed him a pistol?
Well, it was in his waistband. Because my grandpa's an OG like that, but
so he's just got a pistol. He invited.
Yeah,
how did the weed thing come up?
Well, you can smell it, and we're not retarded.
Well,
and around here, it's
that's
illegal.
up for debate.
Yeah, but yeah, no, it's not up for debate.
I guess his grandpa treated the weed smokers like the meth smokers.
Well, my grandpa back in the day was a drug bust cop, so yeah, he doesn't like those kind of people.
Why did he let him on the property in the first place?
It's minus 25 with wind chill right now. It's cold as fuck out.
Gotcha.
Tinnitus murder.
Yeah.
How far are you away from major cities? Is there any major city near you at all?
I mean, if I hop on the highway for about 20, 25 minutes, I'm good.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I'm thinking crime from cities usually spills out to the suburbs closest to them first. And if you're outside of a major city, sure, you're in the country or whatever, but you're outside of a major city, especially off of a major road or whatever. It was what was the name of that book? Gosh, someone help me. It was the book about survival after an event.
Well, the anarchists.
No, it wasn't that one.
This is not ringing a bell.
Strategic Relocation by Joel Skousen is the name of the book. Sorry, it took me a second to remember that. So basically, part of it, they talk about what happened in Germany, World War II Germany, after the defenses failed from the Russians invading, right? So on the east, there were Russians, and you didn't want to get captured by them. On the west, there were the American, the other groups of people who were fighting, who, if you were a civilian especially, you would want to be captured. You wouldn't want to be captured by the Russians because the Russians were fucking pissed about the way things went, and they were liable to fucking rape, murder, pillage, kill, versus the Americans might actually treat you with some respect and by the Geneva Convention and with some codes or whatever. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So there was a mad rush of everyone to get the fuck off their farm, get the fuck out of their house, get the fuck out of wherever the fuck they're at, and head fucking west and get to the Americans before the Russians get to you. Oh, yeah. Which means you don't have time to grab stuff. You don't have time to pack. You only can carry what you can carry. And getting to somewhere where you want to go, it means you're pillaging as you're going, right? And what they found is anyone's house within, I think it was 10 miles of a major road, ended up getting pillaged. But if you were further than 10 miles off of the major road out in the country, then you could reasonably expect that your house and things would be intact when you got back, or that you would be safe staying there.
Yeah,
so
we're in range B for that, so we're good.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty close. 10 miles near a major road.
Yeah, we're a little bit further off than that, but
yeah. But the thinking is if everyone's on foot, that's about how far people will walk out of their way to go searching for whatever. And if it's further than that, they won't do it,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because the baby's crying, the wife is thirsty, you got to find something, which means you're going to walk 10 fucking miles if you need to, but apparently further than that's about 100 miles walking distance within a major city was not safe according to Strategic Relocation. So yeah, that was the other thing. It was anywhere within a certain distance of major cities.
Yeah.
So if you're within 100 miles, I guess, of a major city, and the shit goes down, let's say, and everyone's like grabbing their shit and going, yeah, you're gonna be looted, pillaged, robbed, murdered, killed, murder, death, kill, MDK.
Yeah. Lincoln/Omaha is the big major populations in Nebraska, and I'm about 200 miles away from Lincoln, so I'll be okay.
I have been to Lincoln a long, long time ago. It was a nice place.
It's all right. It's not for me.
Well, anyway.
I expect the crime to be low, right?
Sure. Oh, go ahead. You say something there?
Oh no, I just expect the crime to be low in Lincoln, right?
No, that's where all the crime is.
Well, for Nebraska, yeah. Nebraska's
Yeah.
got crime.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's where all the
Compared to
blue people
Chicago
are.
and other areas.
Compared to Chicago or New York, yeah, it's like fucking
Yeah.
Candyland. They're playing grab ass with fucking Candyland over there.
Oh, yeah.
I know how about that AWB in Colorado?
Oh
Ramming
yeah.
that through.
Well, we'll get into it. Don't worry. Don't worry. We'll talk all.
Okay.
Dude, your shit's like fucked up. Is your microphone not plugged in correctly or something? Sometimes it does that. I don't know. You know, Trump did save us twice. And they're both sitting. They're both so upset.
Both of those would have been really bad.
I mean, Trump is I guess he is a woman beater. Who knew? We voted for a woman because he keeps beating.
Either grabbing them by the pussy or beating them, one or the other.
I mean, he's equal
We're giving-
opportunity. Give him good lefts and rights.
Dude, is this real? Leader of vegan trans cult arrested after being linked to 6 murders?
Yes.
We have
Well-
vegan trans cults murdering people now?
Yeah, those are the ones that killed that Border Patrol agent in Vermont like a month ago.
Yeah, we were talking about those posts. Yeah, I told you the Transformers are arming.
I guess I didn't have that on my bingo card for 2025.
Yeah, they tried to kill some old man with a sword like 2 years ago and then finished the job this year.
Jesus.
I mean, I was expecting them to do something, but I didn't expect the vegan cult thing. But okay.
Could you imagine being stabbed to death with a sword by some tranny because they're upset about fucking political shit that you have nothing to do with?
Well, apparently they stabbed him and he shot one and killed them. And then
they brought a sword to a gunfight. Okay.
and then they came back around earlier this year and killed him for real now.
Jesus.
They just didn't like that guy? Did he do something to him?
He was calling out their shit is what it was.
Oh, I can't stand up to the trannies. The tranny stand.
Well, to be fair, he was a border person, so obviously you got to search them, thorough.
Just FYI, they hate it when you call them that, so that cult might be coming looking for you. So just keep that in mind.
Well, I mean, the term blowing a tranny used to mean a different thing in years, you know? It used to be like a car term, I believe. But
Yes.
I forget what this is, but listen to this guy. He's got crazy hair.
Look, what I don't
Oh, hold on, let me turn it up.
like about what's going on is I just view this as, well, let's watch the Democratic Party commit suicide. And like, I've been a Democrat most of my life. I kind of view myself as outside it, but I don't like watching the Democrats just commit suicide. And what I see is most of the country doesn't really, at this point, given the fraud, waste, and abuse we know is there, 90% of the country is like, get rid of that fraud, waste, and abuse. And I just view this as yet another example of the progressive left boxing themselves into a suicide dance. Now, what the progressive left should be doing is saying, okay, Elon, you're clearly the most qualified person in the world to do something like this. We want to dialogue with you about how you're doing and what are you doing. I don't believe that's actually what happened. And again, I like Elon. I know I think he's obviously the most important builder in the world. And I just think, if you want to say my former side, I don't believe that they're actually engaging. I think it's like another dance where I'm supposed to say, of course, like whatever. It's like there's this one issue where and then you get boxed into you cannot solve the problem. And then I would say, what is the biggest problem in this society? Biggest problem in this society from my perspective is legitimacy of our institutions. Why aren't they legitimate? They're not legitimate because, okay, do any of you really believe that 99% of your taxpayer dollars are being spent? But last and not least, and probably arguably most importantly, there's two revolutions happening. One is transparency and one is AI. Okay, so why is it that we do not know where every penny of our money goes? Like, how do you explain that to people? And by the way, slightly more technically, what large language models do is they mean you can go into the contracts and see exactly what happened. So in the past, we couldn't do this. Now we can. The right response is, we want this to happen. We want to happen. We want to be involved in the dialogue. The real response is, it feels like the people criticizing Elon don't want it to happen. And
dude, that's exactly what it feels like, is the people who were criticizing, like, you would think that anyone who is looking into the government corruption that DOGE, like, it's not just corruption, but corruption and waste and misuse and like spending on like dumb stuff that people wouldn't want their money going to, and like exposing that kind of stuff. You would think that anyone who is in office who believes in fiscal responsibility would be for some sort of oversight. You might not like that Elon's doing it or how he's doing it, but you would have to admit that it needs to be done, and that certainly that if Elon Musk is uncovering things that are wasteful, that ultimately it's a good thing. And you fighting against that exposes you as someone who is for fraud, who is for waste, who is for misuse and misspending of American dollars, right? Of our money that we have to either pay in taxes or pay with our children's fucking future being degraded by our dollars being misused now and then being diluted, you know what I mean? Through inflation. But
I think a lot of it's coming from the fact that when you look at the people who are against this so hard, it's because it's going to expose the amount of money they have been stealing from the American taxpayers for decades now, while being sitting congressmen, senators, etc.
Well, yeah, anybody who works there, obviously, but I'm kind of curious for all y'all, because have you ever talked to any of those people who don't like, what he's doing? Because most of the progressives I deal with, they really hate his ass. And even before he started throwing up gang signs and stuff, and you try talking to some of these people, they don't care. They just want to see, pretty much see them fail.
I don't know, if you take a look at the list of what some of the things they're cutting are going to, it's pretty ridiculous, and it's not even in our country. A lot of them are for some pretty terrible things. So for me, I support it. I mean, you shouldn't be doing $47,000 for a transgender opera in Colombia, or $32,000 for a transgender comic book in Peru. $2 million for sex changes and LGBT activism in Guatemala. Like, why is our money going to tourism in Egypt? Because it's $6 million going to tourism in Egypt.
What's the thing? A lot of that money isn't going to that. That's what it's earmarked for, but it goes there, it greases some palms in those countries, and then ultimately it makes its way back here as dark money into the campaigns or the pockets of our elected officials.
yeah, it hits a bunch of branches on the way down and then lands on a trampoline and bounces back up into the arms of the people who fucking dropped it in the first place.
Yep.
Figuratively. It's crazy, some of that money. Some of that money I think they're going to find is just like straight up fucking money laundering,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when there was, what was it, $4.3 trillion in untraceable spending. It's like they gave the money to someone, they wrote a check, they did whatever, they gave cash, whatever it is. But it's unaccountable, as in the recipients, the reason for the money being spent, all of that stuff is unknown. It's just, here's the amount, here's the date. Here's the department, here's the amount, here's the date. Right? What was it spent on? I don't know. This is just spent. And I'm sure some of that, honestly, some of it's probably going to end up being that $4.3 trillion is going to be like legitimate. They just fucking, the way that they fucking code things. But then you have to ask yourself, why would they have a system where you could code $4.3 trillion in a way that is untraceable? And would you be able to design a system that would be able to like trace things? Of course. right? So why would you design a system that was specifically designed so that you wouldn't be able to trace things? That's the question. And I think it's a pretty obvious answer. Like, why would you design a system that you can cheat in? Oh, so you can cheat, basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the implication. There's no proof of that, and it's about what you can prove, not what you know. And that's something we can infer and know just by looking at it, but you can't prove it. So that's down the line. But
It's not cheating if you do it in front of somebody.
So listen to this for a minute. You know who this is, of course, Kevin Spacey, actor, known accused pedophile, or I don't know, some sort of predator is what he's been accused of. He's been accused of being some sort of sexual predator against men, and he likes younger men to the point where they're like maybe underage men almost, is supposedly what the deal is. So let's listen to what he has to say and what the accusation is against him now.
Guy Pearce, I've now read the comments that you made about me, and while I would have preferred not to have to play this out in the media, you obviously have your own reasons for wanting to do exactly that. But we worked together a long time ago. You know, if I did something then that upset you, you could have reached out to me. We could have had that conversation. But instead, you've decided to speak to the press, who are now, of course, coming after me because they would like to know what my response is to the things that you said. You really want to know what my response is? Grow up. Did you also, by the way, tell the press that a year...
Dude, that's funny that, like, I don't know what the specific accusations are. He was on set with him, and they were working together on a movie or a TV show or something, and some things happened, right? And now he's upset about it all these years later, and he came out and he's talking to the media about it, and Kevin Spacey doesn't like it. I don't know. Do you guys think Kevin Spacey is a pedophile fucking weirdo?
Yes.
Has he been to the island?
Probably.
Maybe.
That's more what I'm interested in.
100.
Who has been to the island and who hasn't? And until we get that list, I'm kind of suspicious of everybody.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, anybody who's got power may or may not have been to the island. I don't know, but it's like Schrodinger's island, you know? Schrodinger's pedophile. You don't know.
You can't use that reference on Muffin Top.
What's that?
You can't use that reference on Tactical Muffin Top.
He doesn't understand Schrodinger?
No, he knows numbers and shit. He doesn't.
You're cute, Lawfully.
That's what you said.
Well, the kid was 13 anyway, and Spacey was 27. So,
yeah, so it was definitely inappropriate.
I mean, he was drunk when he pulled his wiener out, so I don't know.
He's a big grabby.
That's always my excuse.
The only time I try to pee on people.
I'm gonna pee on you. Drip, drip, drip. So FEMA apparently stands for funneling emergency money to aliens. Because that's what they've been doing with a bunch of their money. Remember when, what was her name? Jean-Pierre, whatever the fuck her name is, the press secretary for the White House, was talking about FEMA funds during the hurricane, whatever the fuck it was, Helene, that went into
Helene.
North Carolina and fucked everything up. And then they were like skipping over people's houses because they were known Trump supporters, and there was all that scandal going on too. Do you guys remember that part?
Mm-hmm.
You know about that, Zarati?
I do not. I don't know anything about that. FEMA, I know about, the train camps and the Walmarts and all that stuff. But yeah, I don't know anything about.
So like
them
during
skipping over
the
Trump
cleanup
supporters.
after Helene in North Carolina,
Yeah.
they had there's memos. All of this is proven. This is not like, oh, someone said this. Like they have the fucking papers. This is known that FEMA was skipping over households that had Trump paraphernalia and moving on to the next house or whatever. So if you had Trump stuff on your house, FEMA was skipping your house when there was an emergency.
That's pretty terrible.
Yeah. And they were like, "Oh, it's for safety because we don't know if those people have guns or what they're going to." It's like, bitch, it's in a fucking emergency. Like, if people need help and FEMA's there, they're not going to be like, you know what I mean? Like, fuck that stupid shit. But heads are going to roll for that one.
I think North Carolina is still suffering from that, still to this day, and yet all this money is going to all these other countries. So it would be cool to get some of that money to go to the right places.
I think Trump's working on that.
Yeah, it seems like it. The press secretary was pretty cool on her last speech that she gave to the people.
Sharing the wrong screen because we need to look at this.
I just like him firing everybody.
The U.S. debt clock shows, we're at $36.5 trillion is how much the U.S. national debt's currently at. Federal spending, annual spending is at $7 trillion a year with a budget deficit of $2 trillion. And what is this, the DOGE clock? They've saved us $111 trillion or $1 billion. I wish they'd saved us $111 trillion. No, we'd be good then. Look, they've already saved us $111 billion and counting. I like that. They added the DOGE clock.
Oh, I'm curious. You think we'll be out of the debt if they... Okay, let's just say, because, he's not going to be able... He's going to be done by 4 years. Like the next one, like I say, if JD Vance, you think it would probably be done at least by another term?
What? No. 30 years. It would take 30 years at the rate we're going now to be at zero. If you were to just take the math that we're looking at right now, it'd take 30 years. There's no way.
Well, I mean, with the way things are going right now, our debt's just going up and up and up and up and up and up and up.
Yeah.
And, like, what happens if you have a credit card with no limit and you just keep spending more and more and more and more? Pretty soon, all of the money that you make that you can spend on bills and on stuff is going to go to your credit card bill, which isn't going to even cover the interest on what you already owe. And then you're going to have to use that credit card to then buy things that you need for that month too.
What are these countries? What is this stuff at the bottom that doesn't move very much? I can't see these numbers there too. I can't make it big.
But one thing I do appreciate is it is going in the right direction, and I will take it.
U.S. population, U.S. workforce.
Yeah.
Unofficial unemployment, health care costs per year.
Jesus.
I don't know what that is. Oil to solar ratio. Dollar supply added. That's how many dollars they're printing right now.
Yeah.
U.S. income taxpayers. That's how many people are actually paying taxes. 112.5 million people are actually paying taxes.
Jesus. There's a lot of thieves.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, think about that. There's 340 million people in this country. Only 112 million of us are actually like pushing the fucking wheelbarrow.
Yeah. That technically is a crime right there.
Yep.
That's a crime right there. You should pay your damn taxes.
Well, it's not quite a third of the population. You figure for the retired and the minors.
Yeah, I was going to say that are underage, that are growing up.
That's true.
So you figure maybe like 30% is that something like that.
Also, there is like my security guard. He has that thing where he has to pay state taxes because it's the state law, but he doesn't have to pay federal. So he like banished his social security number. He still has it because that's how they identify things, but he's not going to get any social security. He's not going to get anything from all that, but he doesn't have to pay federal taxes. They just took him off. Like he doesn't pay it at all.
Oh, look, there's 60 million retirees, 8.3 million disabled. So there's technically we're only paying for like 70 million people to like do nothing because they're retired or they're, and a bunch of those people who are retired we're not even paying for because they're paying for themselves. You know, like some of them we're paying for, others we're not. I wonder how many retirees are just like good on their own. You know, probably not as many as you would think. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. They added DOGE.
Did they also add all the vampires?
Oh, we'll talk about that too.
I wonder if Musk is going to be the one to get to stay in office even through the next 4 years after Trump. I wonder if they're just going to keep him on board as the financial / expert with his expertise. Yeah, because that's a way to kind of subvert both parties in a way. It doesn't matter who gets elected at that point because he's just the one running it.
I mean, honestly, though, I don't think anyone but Trump's running everything right now. I mean, like, Elon's like bringing a lot of shit up and using his skills and his fucking, network of people to get things done in a way. He's doing to the U.S. government what they did to Twitter, downsizing and like repurposing it. Like, think about this. It's like going to an old broke down motor, right? And you're an engineer. You can either fix the motor exactly how it was, like put the piston back in and do everything, or you could say like, holy shit, this is so outdated. Like, we can do so much better. Let me just rip it apart and build a new one that's cleaner and more efficient and, better in every way, makes more power, does things better, more quickly, more responsive, more transparent. Like all the things that you would want from a government. And all of the things that our government currently isn't because of the bloat and the fucking bullshit and, bureaucracy and deep state. And Preston Garvey, I'm sorry, you dropped in $2 a couple of minutes ago and I missed it. It says, I blew a tranny twice. Costed $3,000 and $2,000. It's an expensive tranny.
It's an expensive tranny, but if it's worth it, it's worth it. Yeah.
So, breaking massive spontaneous protest marches with incredible numbers like this one in New York City beginning to sprout out all over the country in staunch opposition to the executive overreach by the Trump administration. And I'm like, massive? This is in New York City, right? Massive. They have it zoomed in so that you can see nothing but the crowd. But watch what happens when they like zoom out a little bit. Oh, the edges of the crowd are right there. So now you can see the whole crowd. That's as big as the crowd is. What do you think that is? Like 2,000 people, maybe?
Yeah, probably a couple thousand.
One more than that. Come on. What?
More people than I know.
Yeah, there's more people there than you think. Because like the mall in in DC, the mall, that whole stretch from the front to the back is you can fit like 265,000 people in there. It's something insane. Like you can fit a lot of people in that space right there.
It's like
but I think it's more than
probably like 50
2,000.
people. Not like standing shoulder to shoulder, but like as wide as my fucking yellow thingy is here. That's about 50 people. Like,
who's got a quantum computer who can zoom in and count all these people?
Probably more than the protest that was here in LA.
Honestly, dude, I don't think that's more than 2,000 people. And if it was 2,000, I'd be surprised. I think it's 1,000 people.
What was this event?
A quote unquote spontaneous anti-Trump protest because of the DOGE cuts and the USAID cuts that are happening.
Except these
and firings that are happening.
So these aren't spontaneous. They're by a group called 50/50/1, and I'm pretty sure it's tied directly to Soros.
Right. So we just have another. It's just another Black Lives Matter, Antifa, color revolution that's being funded in our country by George Soros and people who would like to see this country overthrown so that they can buy up its resources pennies on the dollar. And that's the billionaires that are on the side of the Democrats. Anyway.
Have
you guys ever seen the CIA heart attack gun?
It shoots a tiny dart made of ice that would lodge into the skin, leaving only a small red dot. Each of these darts are loaded with a deadly poison from shellfish. And once inside the body, the poison disrupts nerve signals, which paralyzes muscles. This would cause the heart to beat in a weird, uneven rhythm until it completely stopped, killing the person within minutes. These guns were used by the CIA to take out people without leaving a trace, making it look like a heart attack.
Dude, these are the things that we know about. What kind of shit do you think that they have that we don't know about?
I'm scared to even imagine.
A kid I went to grade school with actually works for one of the government agencies designing things. He can't talk about it.
Yeah. Colorado Springs had the EMP gun. They had those going years ago when I still lived there, and we were living in Colorado Springs, and they had the test like EMP gun. It would just shut down all the electronics in the car. You could just shoot it from the cop car, neutralize the target if it was after, I think, 86 or something. It was a crazy old year, and it would just stop the car in its tracks, which is pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot I was going to say. I was going to say something, and then I forgot what it was.
Fucking interrupting Yetis.
No, you weren't interrupting. You just said something interesting, and it got me thinking about it.
Daniel drew up a $2 super chat.
Oh, sorry. Sorry there, buddy. Ooh, Daniel. Ooh, Daniel. Ask Grok to count them bitches in that pic. All right. Let's do that. So we're going to go to this post.
That's
we're going
awesome.
to copy it. Then we're going to go to Grok and say, how many people are in this?
Well, that's awesome, Daniel. Thanks for doing that. I was trying to find it and I couldn't.
$50,000 people? No.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
No.
Yeah, that seems about right.
No. Okay, now I got to fucking actually look into this because we're going to look.
You should. Okay, so
massive spontaneous New York City protests. So we're going to go search over here off screen.
Also, I agree that it was not just spontaneous. I'm not trying to say it was spontaneous.
Yeah, they had at least a week or
that
two.
it was certainly planned. 50,000 people agree to stand for something. It was planned. Like, it's not. This isn't. We're not getting attacked by aliens here. That's no way. Some of them were probably paid to be there. So.
Yeah, it's all 50-51. That's what all the fucking articles are about. So it is. It's not spontaneous. It's obviously fucking like that's a lie. Everything they say is a lie. Everything they fucking say is a lie.
Well, it's spontaneous because they didn't give the plan to anybody else. They just held the plan to themselves. So it is spontaneous in the fact that we didn't know it was going to happen, and boom, it's happening. That is spontaneous, technically.
They're talking about these things all over Reddit like crazy. That's where I keep seeing them pop up at, because it was supposed to be for President's Day. They were supposed to do them in all 50 state capitals, what it was.
I don't think they got the power to do that.
Yeah, I don't think Grok has the right answer. I don't care what you guys say.
There's also some protest for illegals going on Thursday in Cleveland,
Ohio. Here we go. It's time to stand up to Trump 2.0. Most Americans voted for someone else in 2024. As New York's public advocate said, we're going to have to stand together to get through this. Blah, 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 blah. Trump Nazi salutes, yada, yada, yada. 48% is not a landslide. Da, 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 da. 1,500 people. Boom. All right. Anyway. Yeah, that's 1,500 people right there.
The more you know.
Okay, anyway. Colorado ban on manufacturer's sale of certain semi-automatic guns now on glide path to governor's desk. Senate Bill 3 passed on a 19-15 vote with 3 Democrats, Senator whatever, joining all of the Republicans in the chamber and voting against the measure. So there were 3 Democrats who actually voted against this. There were supposed to be 2 others that were also going to vote against it, but they flipped on the last second and this thing fucking passed.
Oh, it did pass.
So now it's got some other fucking hurdle. I think it goes from if it passed the Senate, then it has to go back to the House because they amended it, right? And then the House has to pass it too, but they're going to pass it because the House in Colorado is just fucking ridiculous, fucking Democrat. And then it's going to the governor's desk. So the governor is supposedly libertarian. He talks about libertarian stuff, but
That means you have a good chance of keeping your guns then.
he's also a Democrat.
So you're saying he's sold out?
I don't think he's really a libertarian, is what I'm saying. Like, he talks libertarian stuff, but when it comes down to it, he's more than willing to sign a bill to fucking infringe on people's rights. This isn't the bill that it started out as, and I have to do a deep dive into what changes were made. As far as I understand, last I heard, they've changed it from like an all-out assault weapons ban with no grandfather and all the different things in it, you know, to it's like a FOID card. So if you want to buy fucking guns, you have to have a ID card, like a gun buying card, basically. So it's gun registration. And then they're going to have like certain things that they're going to ban the buying and selling of on top of that. So
Welcome to the
Didn't FOID cards just get found to be unconstitutional?
Yeah, I was going to say,
Yeah.
I thought it was either Supreme Court or one of the...
right. Well, everything they're doing is unconstitutional. So
Pretty much.
I mean, if they talk about that FOID card should be unconstitutional, so it should be the same thing what I do with my state, and that's the freaking safety certificate.
Oh, and it's something about like the fire rate increasing devices. Like if you have a fucking echo trigger or something, or one of those FRT triggers, they really don't like that either. So that's in there. I don't have any of those. Dino Spumoni dropped in $10. Said that protest was 0.6% of New York's population. The same media making this a big deal would also be telling you that $72 billion in fraudulent Social Security payments sub 1% is no big deal. Yeah, dude, we're gonna get into that story here in just a second. But shit's crazy. The things that Elon Musk and DOGE is uncovering, and they haven't even begun to dig into certain things, right? Like they're talking about auditing the Fed. They're talking about auditing the Fort Knox, the gold reserve that we're supposed to have, that some people say does not exist anymore, that some people say is no longer the gold is no longer there because it's been taken out years ago and sold to the highest bidder to fund things years ago. That's why we got off the gold standard years ago, so that they could do that and continue to fucking function like we're the richest country in the world just by selling out our future. Because when was the last audit of the Fort Knox? Does anyone know? It was like
I think it's been sealed for 50 years.
I'm pretty sure the last president to see it was Nixon.
Oh boy.
And as far as I understand, the last time that they audited it, they didn't audit it. There's like several vaults. When they went into the vaults, they only opened one vault and looked at it and then like closed it and went away. So the other like 2 vaults or 3 vaults or however other many vaults there are stayed closed and locked, and no one looked inside of them.
Probably empty as hell.
So yeah, I'm not saying that it's empty as hell, but would you be surprised if it was empty as hell?
I got a feeling this whole year is going to be done with a bunch of audits and investigations and all types of stuff just going on.
And they're going to find out.
I hope it's empty as hell.
Like, what if we find out every single organization involved with the government, every three-letter organization, is corrupt from bottom to top, has been laundering money and enriching themselves from bottom to top? Have you ever thought about like how many fucking expensive ass, rich ass people there are like how many like rich ass houses there are, big ass houses that cost millions of dollars to own. Like, who owns all these houses? How do they get the money? Are there that many rich people in this country? Or maybe are there that many people who were frauding the government and living in these houses and living that lifestyle and having that money, and they've been getting away with it for decades under our noses, flaunting it in front of us while we pay for their bills?
I'll say some of those people probably live in those type of houses. Maybe I've done some criminal acts. I remember I used to talk to some coworkers about back in the day when some of them used to do drug slinging. There's some people who didn't get caught and do live in rich houses. That was like way back in the 70s and 80s and shit.
Well, I'm sure if you have some like government like racketeering system where you're frauding the government for social security numbers that you're collecting at your address or something, right? And the government knows about it because they're in on it and they're getting paid off from it. So no one's going to bust you, right? You just keep your fucking mouth shut about everything, and you make your PAC donations, right? Like those people that make a bunch of donations to Democrat parties or whatever. Like it even could be Republican PACs. I'm not sure, you know. Like where do they get all that money from? Oh, well, maybe they get it from methods like this. And I'm not saying that they are, but it would make sense. Like the pieces would fit. So I don't know, man. I'm saying I wouldn't be surprised if we find out everything is fraud, that everything is fake, that everything has been made up, that everyone's been lying, that everyone's been stealing, and we're just catching on to it now.
Well, last year it was James O'Keefe and his new company exposed a shitload of stuff through Act Blue.
Why do you only say half the thing?
It was all the people that they were claiming like donated to Democrats, like X amount of dollars, and then it
that's
like,
right.
It was all bullshit or whatever.
Yeah, where it's like, oh, did you know that you donated $50,000 last year to Democrat? Like, no, I didn't donate anything. Yeah, like yesterday you donated 3 times. Like, did I? Like, yeah, that kind of shit. All right, here's a little ASMR alien deportation for you.
Wait, what kind of aliens?
Yes, we're better.
Where was that guy's gun? And his holster was empty.
In the lockbox back at the airport.
No.
Checked in.
Forward. Right there. This guy. That guy right there. He don't have a gun in his holster.
Yeah,
I don't think you can have a gun at the airport if you're doing something like that. You have to turn it in.
No, you can definitely have police and all that can have their firearm.
Maybe. I mean,
that
it's
is
a retention locking
yeah.
holster. What is that guy in handcuffs going to fucking do with it?
To be fair, just even stuff like I do with at work, you'd be surprised some stupid ass rules they make you do.
Oh my god.
Yeah, there are. I know there's like government buildings where cops can't just come in with their gun; they have to lock it up.
Yeah, I'm sure there's got to be some reason. Like some stupid administrational reason, you know.
Yeah.
Like there's a post I work at where I gotta be watching cameras and stuff. And they just now put it back the rules like, oh yeah, you can't be carrying a gun while the cameras out. I said fuck it. I'm keeping my gun on me.
Breaking: a minivan used for deportation efforts by ICE has been set afire in Philadelphia. This is literal terrorism. And do you guys think this part's true? Democrats are inciting this. Lock them up. Oh, readers add context. Both driver and ICE say fire was due to mechanical issues. Ooh, reporter. Jumping to conclusions over here. All right, fine. Turns out if you read New York Post, you won't think that there's some kind of you will think that there's only some kind of dispute between the acting head of the Social Security and Musk, not widespread fraud. So yeah, if we actually like click on this New York Post article, which it takes me to another page that you can't see, but long story short, if you read the entire article, they talk about how Social Security is this great foundation that helps people and blah, blah, blah. And don't talk about anything having to do with fraud or abuse or 180-year-old people receiving Social Security and stuff like that. So what does it tell you if you read a news report that's supposed to inform you about current events and they only give you half of the story? Is that news? Are they doing their job?
From one point of view.
An opinion piece.
Is it their job to just give one point of view?
I suppose if that's their platform.
They're the news. They're supposed to give a balanced platform of both points, all points of view, so that everyone who understands what's going on, who reads their thing, can understand what's going on. That's the point of news. If you're not doing that, you're not news. So New York Post is not a news organization. They're a paid propaganda organization. And there's a huge difference between the two. And if you're only giving one point of view, like Fox News is just as guilty of this, right? When they're just giving the right point of view and they're not talking about what the left is saying, you're not informing people as to the actual arguments at play. And if they don't understand both sides of an argument, how are they supposed to make a decision as to what they think?
They can't. They're just giant influencers. News organizations are the biggest influencers. That's what they are. They just influence.
Well, it's like a dog that's not barking. That should, like, if someone's breaking into your house and your dog's not barking, like, the dog's not doing his job. The dog is supposed to make noise when someone breaks into your house. And if the dog's not barking when someone's breaking into your house, you get rid of the fucking dog and you get one that's going to bark. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe that's a bad example.
It's fine. I live in an apartment. My neighbors get mad. What am I supposed to do? I had to get rid of the dog because it kept barking. I'd like a quiet dog, please. Maybe a Breton Frisé or something. Just quiet. Have its vocal cords removed.
Well, you know, not everyone gets dogs for intruders. But, you know, if you had a dog that was specifically there to warn you for intruders, that didn't bark when there was intruders, then you would want a different dog.
Yeah.
If you want a quiet dog, then that would be your dog, right? That's a little different. Anyway. Department of Government Efficiency, the Treasury Access symbol TAS is an identification code linking a Treasury payment to a budget line standard financial process. In the federal government, the TAS field was optional for $4.7 trillion in payments and was often left blank, making traceability almost impossible. As of Saturday, this is now a required field, increasing insight into where money is actually going, thanks to U.S. Treasury. But up until this point, there's $4.7 trillion in payments that may or may not be legitimate, that we don't know where they went. They could have gone anywhere. That's roughly, I don't know, 15% of our total fucking national debt that we can't trace. Pretty big chunk. $4.7 trillion gone. Poof. Oh, bro. I don't know if I can show this on YouTube, so I won't. But the point of the video is that motorcycles equals bad war zone transportation. We'll just skip ahead to the scene where you can see something. Yeah, everyone's down and things start blowing up. That's the point. Can't show it on YouTube. That sucks. Oh, cloud seeding.
Flip
Cloud
this
seeding is really
to
it, because it has been for a really long time. And here's the actual mechanism that they've been using to cloud seed it. And they're fucking showing everybody this shit like, oh, you didn't know? Oh, it's not like we've been gaslighting everybody this whole fucking time and telling everyone that you're a fucking crazy conspiracy theorist who believes in UFOs and Yetis and shit if you fucking think that this is real. But actually, it's been real the whole time, you idiots.
2, and then I bring this to 1, and fire. Now look at that. 5, fire. 6, 8, fire. 9, fire. Okay, where to okay.
It's a barium they're not listing there.
There you go. Cloud seeding's a thing.
Honda, it's just a gender reveal. Calm down. God.
Replace dog with claymore, says Preston. I prefer proximity mines.
Same.
Those are the best. Anyway. Who knew life expectancy in America was so good? We're living to 250.
90 and 99.
Look at
That's not even where the craziness starts. See, because we also have nearly 5 million between the ages of 100 and 109.
How old is the oldest person in the world right now? I believe it's 116 years old.
Yeah, I think so.
So we have 4.7 million people who are 100 to 109 years old. I don't believe that. 6 million who are 90 to 99. Maybe, but I don't believe that. Honestly, I think it may be like a couple million, like 2. And 80 to 89. I mean, maybe that's right. I'm not sure. It's hard to tell where they fucking start cheating. But they're cheating by this point.
3.6 million between 110 and 119. I'd like to remind you that the oldest person recorded on Earth right now is 116 years old.
Yeah, there you go.
But that can't be true because according to our Social Security Department, we have 3.4 million that are between the ages of 120 and 129. 3.9 million between the ages of 130 and 139.
What do the average Social Security recipients get? Is like $500 a month or something like that?
It depends. It's
Yeah, it depends.
about 1,200, I think, usually.
1,200 a month?
Maybe a
So
little
think
bit more
about
than
this. When you're talking about 3.4 million, 3.9 million, 3.5 million, 1.4 million, multiply that by another $1,200.
It's actually, I just looked it up, that says it's $1,976
Oh my God.
is the actual average.
All right, let's get out the old calculator. Sometimes you got to get out the calculator.
Just say 2 G's across the board and we'll be
Yeah,
good.
pretty much $2,000.
All right.
Steve D says up to 1,800 plus.
So I think I've got a better picture of this. If I get out of this and scroll down to, where was it? I thought I reposted it. Apparently not.
Group who our Social Security Department.
Get out of the way,
says
fatty.
still-
There we go. Okay. So we need our calculator, and we're going to start, add all these up to, what do you think, like 8,000? So we're going to go 8,000 people plus 121,000 plus 1.3 million.
Who's 360 years old?
5 million. And these are, I'm doing this quick and
The
dirty.
Yeti? The Yeti you can't find who's living on Social Security. They've been around for so long that their check is the biggest. They get like $2,500 a month. So
Should I stop here? Like the 100 to 109? That seems still pretty fraudulent. We'll go 2 million of that. Just estimate 2 million of those are fraudulent. So we have a total of 18 million fraudulent recipients, let's say, times 2,000 a month.
Yep.
we're looking at $2 billion a month. We're $24 billion a year worth of spending.
Wow.
Honestly, I thought it was more than that. Okay. Well, still $24 billion.
Yeah, 24 billion more than it's supposed to be.
Yeah, you can literally take down entire swaths of congressional seats with that kind of money.
It's a lot of money, dude. How much is Elon Musk worth?
A little over 400.
Oh man, well that's chump change to him, I guess.
Yeah, $20.
Legacy media were being paid off by USAID. Just revealed that the news of the world. Hold on, I just reviewed news on the word USAID. It is all stories about how horrible it is that Trump and Elon shut it down. There are zero stories about the crazy line items the USAID was spending money on. They're trying to create a fake narrative that USAID was an awesome agency that Trump is horrible for stopping the flow of money to. Seems about right. And wasn't it, I forget who it was, HuffPo or Reuters, I think it was. Reuters got a whole bunch of USAID money. They were getting like $40 million a month in fucking subscriptions from the government. The government was buying subscriptions for like, it was some like weird second company business that they were running on the background where like the normal subscription to the front company is like $20 a month or whatever, you know, like normal prices for a fucking thing. But then if you wanted their backdoor subscription to their other company that gave you analytics about stuff, it was like $40,000 a month or something incredibly expensive, just a ridiculous lineup. But that's like the product that they sell. And so on paper, it's like, well, you know, this is our product. And so like, you know, no one's going to look into it until you actually look into it. And you're like, whoa, what the fuck is this? And no one would have ever fucking known about this shit again, unless it was for fucking Elon. Dude, Elon Musk saved us twice because he did the whole Twitter files thing, which exposed government interference into social media and putting their fingers on the scales in order to tilt things in a way that they would like on social issues again and again and again, in spite of the fact that the government is specifically restricted from being able to do anything with people's speech. But they're not doing it. It's the social media companies, right? Yeah. So they're also backed up by USAID funding news organizations to put out narratives like that to confuse the issue for people, right? So you got both prongs of it. Like now you're kind of seeing this whole thing put together and how it works. You're seeing the mechanisms, the gearing, you know, the pistons going up and down. It's interesting. It's hard to keep up with. There's a lot of information here. I'm frankly fucking like my brain hurts fucking thinking about all this stuff.
You would do.
Yeah, and then you have all of these judges. Here's the other part, right? You don't just have the media. You don't just have the NGOs. You don't just have the social media companies. But you also have judges on your side because you've bought and paid for putting them into office. So that's kind of like the way that these color revolutions work, right? You need the media. You need to have like the judges and the courts on your side. And then you use those two things to install your own puppet leader so that you can control this country, but it looks like everything's legit and people just chose that. But really what happened is you used USAID to send in a bunch of money to a smaller country where $1 billion to them is like a fuck ton of fucking money. And you start throwing that money around and people start doing what you say and repeating what you want. Now you're hiring people to do this and that. And now you have a foothold in that country and you're starting to affect things. And now you start, like, I don't know, putting money into the media organizations. So now you make hiring decisions about who the main news anchor is and what he talks about every night. So you're controlling the media fucking narrative to the entire massive country, right? And then you get your people in the courts. So when, like, something happens that you don't like that the government's doing, you can overthrow it through the courts or gum it up or make it last forever like they're doing with Trump right now. And then ultimately the goal is to, again, put in your own puppet leader so that you control the country from top to bottom. You can do whatever you want with it when it comes down to it. and everyone thinks that it's natural and normal, but for a couple of $1 billion, you bought fucking Brazil, you bought Argentina, you bought whatever, you know? Like, that's the way it works. And, you know, it's really fucking great deal on paper as long as you can control that, maintain that stranglehold over who's in control and which media organizations are determining what truth is, you know? Anyway, that was a huge rant. I hope you guys understand what I'm talking about. It's really hard to fucking put all that together. Penis. All right, fine. Fuck off.
In short, Honda saying the government's acting like Hydra.
Oh.
Learn to code. Here's your Kleenex. Dino Spumoni dropped in $5. Thanks, man. Says you can actually make a profit while on the Social Security site, and will tell you how much you are projected to receive and stuff.
Yeah, it's true.
I think I got a letter saying that I was entitled to $400 a week, like years ago, based upon how much money I put into Social Security. Because I've done nothing but work my entire life, dude. Shit sucks. Dr. Fauci's Trans Zoo House Oversight Committee, $241 million spent on transgender surgeries, treatments, and on animals.
Jesus.
That's wild.
$241 million to trans up some dogs and cats and shit. I hope it's dogs and cats. Well, fuck it. No, I don't hope it's anything, really.
He's making the monkey straight.
Oh my god, bro.
You don't know what they identify as.
I mean, those are the cats and dogs we can eat.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
They're delicious.
They were also eating the ducks and the geese and everything else they could.
Meow, 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 meow. Oh, give me a... Can you guys cover for me for like 2 minutes? I do apologize. I'll be right back.
Yeah, take a dump.
All right, Captain.
This is the E-Honda 420 channel. Make sure you like, share, and sub to our boy E-Honda. He's the best. He goes into long rants that nobody has a comment for afterwards, but that's our boy E-Honda.
Well, he covers everything. What more can we add?
That's true. That is
Pretty much.
On the beginning of a good note, Ilhan Omar's ass finally got kicked off the Foreign Affairs Committee today.
Yeah, no, it's just
really?
kicked off out of Congress.
She needs to be deported from this country for marriage fraud at this point because they uncovered that, and the FBI's been covering up for years, I guess.
Yep.
We might get her. So I guess you could say things that may be looking up, but just taking it time.
There's also a possibility of Tom Holman investigating AOC for some stuff.
Oh, I wish he'd go after that piece of shit.
So what do you guys think will be the implications if they open Fort Knox on live stream? I do believe is what they want to do. We talked about this on my chat.
So they are going to do a live stream?
Yeah, they want to live stream it because then what? The leftist and nobody can say they faked it, right? Because it's really, really hard to mess with video. You can do pictures and whatever and psyop it.
You mean kind of like
they go in and that bitch is empty. Do you think the stock market and everything crashes?
That'd be scary.
Definitely lead to some stuff.
Well, we're going to have a lot of pissed off countries too, because we've got a lot of countries' gold that we're supposed to be protecting.
Well, I think it's going to definitely put a good amount of pissing off certain people, but mind you, I think certain people that reach a certain age don't give a fuck.
I mean, yeah, and then here's the deal too. We haven't been putting any more gold in there. So what is the advantage of auditing it? Just to show everybody that we have the money and we're good for it. Because like they should definitely open it up, definitely show us, and then that's going to be a reflection of whoever took the money.
I think we spent it after what was it? Nixon sealed it.
So is that and I can see that.
The reason for showing it would be to restore faith in the Fed. But then if they open it up and there's not jack shit in there, you're going to crash the market.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, we know the Fed's full of shit if it's empty.
Nice thing about that, though, is you can then buy stocks really cheap because everything's going to crash, and so everything will go back down.
Apparently, DOGE is going to be investigating CPS and the child welfare system pretty soon.
Good.
Maybe they were those missing children.
I think they're doing a great job. I mean, everything they've went in and taken care of, I think, is probably fat that needed trimmed a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Let alone, it's fat that's going into the same person's plate that,
Dude, there's
the rest of us
probably a lot of abuse that's in CPS because there's a lot. Dude, this happens all the time where there's like these fucking orphan farms that people run,
Mm-hmm.
where they have 4 bunk beds to a room. You put like fucking 8 kids in a room, 16 kids to the house. They get paid. I don't know how much.
$4,000 per kid.
So yeah, they're making $8,000 a month, or $16,000 a month, and then they just feed them like the cheapest possible food and put like go to Goodwill and spend like $5 a kid.
Yeah, it's
the same thing, for
they turn 18 and they give them their trash bag with their 4 possessions of their name.
Yeah, there's actually I don't do charities very much, but there is one charity that I give to. It's this one called Forgotten Angels, and it takes kids who are in that position. If they basically find themselves homeless and kicked out of the fucking foster care home at 18 years old, and it gives them a place to land, right? Like they build their own mini home. Like they get like a little tiny piece of land and they get to build their own little mini home, like a shed with electricity and heating and everything, like they can survive in it. It's fine. And it's, with a bunch of other kids who are around the same age who are dealing with the same thing, and teaches them how to get a driver's license and a bank account and a job, and either, get to college or join the military or what, like gets them started in life. And
that's super cool, dude.
I think the return on investment on something like that, like, yeah, there's probably a lot of kids who come through that system who were just like beyond repair, they're just fucked.
Yeah.
But to give a kid a first chance, you're not even giving them a second chance. You're just giving them a first fucking chance with something like that,
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. I see that being a way to deter them from just going straight into crime, or I think military would be good if I was in that situation. But that's awesome, man.
Anyway, Gun Library Garrett dropped in $2 and said Fort Knox is going to be empty. I think honestly, bro, like we might find that out. What do you guys think? Is there gold in Fort Knox?
I like the live stream idea that somebody said earlier. I don't know who it was, Ohio or
it was Muffin.
Somebody. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Elon actually proposed.
Well, you talking about the fort empty like the Al Capone's vault?
No, just Fort Knox. Like they actually open it and go catalog everything if there is anything live, like they live stream it.
And I don't want to just.
It might be empty.
I don't want to just see images and video of them just showing us the gold bars. I want them to count every bar
and weigh it.
Exactly. I want to know that that's not just a brick that's painted.
Yeah, or dipped in gold, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It says there's 3 vaults. It's probably gonna be 2 empty ones, and maybe the last one got like a few bricks inside or something.
It has a lab inside of it. They're making drugs.
Well, yeah.
So here's a propaganda film that was produced with USAID taxpayer money paid to an NGO that put this film together. So we might as well enjoy what we paid for. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Yep.
Ecological warfare is a tool of colonialism. In every colonized place, there are ecological, political, and human crises compounded by the climate crisis. And so it matters when you start the clock of history. History doesn't just determine how you tell the story of the problem. It determines how we imagine our solutions. Climate change did not begin with the burning of fossil fuels. It began with settler colonialism, imperialism, and extractivism. Similarly, with Palestine, if you start the clock of history at settler colonialism and the British
Palestine?
Empire, a new set of liberatory solutions appear. The path to climate justice travels through a free Palestine, as both issues reflect the root causes of the crises we are all in. We must begin by healing our relationship with land and restoring indigenous sovereignty.
Yeah.
Let's learn from Palestinian resilience and all those loving hands caring for centuries-old olive groves. Honor the land-based traditions like food preservation and Arab hospitality, welcoming people into your home and sharing all you have, and dancing together to the rhythms of the free land and free people. It matters how we care for each other in times of crisis. This is alive in Palestine, here, here, and here. And it's what we need to be doing everywhere. We call on all our communities fighting for climate justice to see this as our struggle and to demand that we cut military funding to Israel and begin the process of demilitarization so that we can all be free.
I'm having trouble finding out what the through line is between climate change and Palestine. It just kind
It's
of
hippies.
the past
I was about
matters,
to
and it
say
also
that.
matters in Palestine.
That
I
baby
just
went
felt my
from
armpit hair grow watching that video.
I don't know. I'm glad we spent like $200 million or whatever that film cost. I'm not sure how much it cost, but I assume it was $200 million because of the government paying for it, you know?
Probably about $500 into some dude's pocket, and then another $199 million to rockets for Palestine.
Dude, watch the way this lady cooks this Palestine protester. This is great.
That whosoever believes in him will not perish. Excuse me, my dear. Hold on a minute. I'm making a video. So, free Palestine from Islam and from Hamas. Free Palestine from Islam and from Hamas. The Islam is the cult religion of Shaitan, the devil, and free Palestine from Islam and Hamas, and everything will be fine. Don't touch me, don't touch me. So free Palestine from Islam and Hamas. Islam is the cult religion of Shaitan, the devil.
Of Satan.
It's true.
I heard I was listening to a podcast. They call them desert demons.
I think everyone realizes the difference between aggression from Israel to Palestine, and what's the difference between that and aggression between Palestine and Israel, right? And I think when it comes down to it, it's this. If Hamas put their guns down tomorrow and decided that they were tired of fighting and they didn't want to fight anymore, there would be peace in Gaza. If Israel decided to put their guns down because they were tired of fighting, there would be a genocide in Israel. That's the difference. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, they won't. Hamas is going to stop. They're going to keep going at it.
I also really don't.
Yeah.
I also really don't like the fact that with the whole possible taking the Gaza Strip, that you now have Israel basically claiming that a bunch of first world nations like Ireland and stuff like that need to take a bunch of Islamic motherfuckers into them.
Every other country doesn't want the people that are there for a reason.
Exactly.
They already know that none of their religions or ideologies can coexist. The fact that we are relocating them here just shows how ignorant and stupid we have people that are in control of how that runs.
Are there Palestinian Christians?
Yeah, they're buried 6 feet under.
Oh,
I was gonna say that.
Or they're hiding.
They're part of the new parking lot.
Or they don't live there.
Female Secret Service trainee shot herself in the leg on Wednesday, requiring airlift to nearby hospital.
Finally got to pull the trigger.
The United States Social Security Academy is supposed to be one of the toughest in the world to be accepted into. yet these are the effects of Biden's efforts. What do you guys think? Is it Biden
Was it really
who
that
hired
gal?
all these DEI people who were shooting themselves in the legs and like this one? She can't put her gun in her holster.
Is that the gal who shot herself, or is this just showing?
No, it's just footage of the gun.
Oh.
She can't put it in her holster. Is all.
I would believe it.
You think she said what old boy said years ago on YouTube? I just shot myself.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
At least he took it like a man.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the FOID card. Fuck, dude, this is so much to read. I'm not gonna do it.
What is this?
So you got to take a firearms training course.
Your education course.
To have your firearms safety course eligibility card pursuant to section whatever. Having completed that, Oh, you got to be checked for mental illness. You got to have. So if you ever have thoughts of being sad or whatever, don't talk to a doctor about it because he'll take your gun rights away.
Mm-hmm.
What is this?
Well, I'll say this, just for that alone, because we don't even deal with none of that stuff here. Y'all doing a lot more than what we are.
Oh, so you got to get fingerprints done? So it's basically like getting your fucking concealed carry weapons license, but everyone's got to have one just to buy a gun. Oh, they have a processing fee? That's nice. So when you give them your fingerprints and the processing fee, they shall process, so they have to do it. That's nice, at least. Amended bill, blah, blah, blah. Oh, we already read that part. I don't know, bro. It's a bunch of bullshit.
You have to do all that each time you buy a gun, or it's just a one-time thing?
I think it's to get the card.
It's like a card.
Oh, the card. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I got you now.
For me, all I got to do is just pass 10 or 15 question and maybe got a real ID. That's it.
Is Trump actually live right now talking about World War III?
He's live somewhere.
Yeah, he's live talking about World War III and he's talking about the border.
Oh, you meant live streaming.
Craziness. I can't listen to two things at once.
On Twitter.
Yeah, I don't see him anywhere on YouTube.
I saw it on YouTube. It was I just shut it down.
Oh, yeah, let's see.
If you got it, share in the live chat.
Fox News has him live talking
Yeah,
about
Fox
Ukraine.
News.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, you're right. Sorry about that. Okay, well, this says it started 7 hours ago, so I wonder if they're just replaying it.
Oh, yeah, they do that a lot, dude.
It's got the little live thing on the bottom, but it's not like us. It's not actually going on.
Yeah, it's a replay because I saw Asmongold doing his reaction of the whole Trump speech.
Yeah, they were talking to Rubio about it, and he basically confirmed that we do have Russia on board with ending the war finally.
Yeah, but not Ukraine.
Yeah, Zelensky is on board with it.
He won't do anything that he's not part of at the table.
Yeah, he didn't go to the meeting.
He's also bitching and moaning that if anything happens, he's going to want $750 billion from European nations now.
He literally said that the aid to Europe is over and that, Europe has to jump in. I saw that too.
Well, it's like everyone bailed your ass out. You came to us hat in hand begging for money time and again, which I didn't like it, but we gave to you. Now you're dictating how this fucking... No, you don't get to dictate shit.
Yeah, and he's canceled.
We just need to set up the sign that says you must be this tall to be involved in negotiations.
I'm like, their interest should be taken into consideration, but...
What he wants is the land back that Russia's taking.
Shit too, so fuck you, man. Pay us back.
I think Trump's solution to that is we're going to get their mineral rights basically to everything, plus they're going to pay us every year until it's paid off, which is going to be very lucrative for us.
Yeah, we need to charge them plus interest. Make it
Yeah.
worth
Oh yeah.
And as soon as he loses his wartime powers, like as soon as the war's done, they're having their election and he's out. Like nobody in that country wants that idiot.
I know you've already switched topics, but Pat Wright in the comments said, "Just pray they don't make you have that card to buy ammo."
Yeah, I'm not sure, dude. I'm not sure about it. I gotta do a deep dive into that shit and figure out how it all works. So I'm not trying to read it on stream and figure it out, you know?
Well, if it's anything like what Leo and Vandra got to do, it's best probably ask them. But where I'm at, yeah, you have to use that to buy ammo.
Well, California's super gay too. I'm just joining the gay club, man. We're coming into the closet.
Well, I told you, I said you're gonna be part of it, except y'all doing worse than we are.
Hey, Honda, did you get? Sorry, go ahead.
No, you good. You good. Go.
Did you get Preston Garvey's last super chat?
No, I'm retarded. I heard they love sharing their rooftops with gays. Oh, you're talking about Palestine?
Maybe the Palestine Christians you were talking about. They're probably both going over the edge.
Yeah, I mean, wasn't it? I thought it was Afghanistan or Iraq. They were talking about the punishment for being gay was they would drop a wall on you.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, dude, do they have to like build a wall to like drop on people? It's like, it's like a really efficient way to like punish people.
It was just a chunk of wall attached to roofs.
You just have walls ready to fall down everywhere. You're like, might as well use these in the commission of gayness.
Yeah, they just sliced the roof.
It's the guillotine.
That one was kind of interesting. That was a funny one.
I like it.
Yeah, the execution side requires more work.
So Nancy Pelosi's annual salary, $250,000. They make quite a bit of money, but she's worth $202 million. Mitch McConnell, $200,000, worth $100 million. Chuck Schumer, $210,000, worth $75 million. Elizabeth Warren, Miss Pocahontas herself, $285,000 a year is what she makes.
Holy shit!
And she's worth $67 million. Are any of these people independently wealthy from before they got into government?
Isn't Nancy Pelosi's husband really rich? Doesn't he do something?
Paul Pelosi.
Yeah.
I know he doesn't like hammers very much.
No, he does not like hammers.
But he loves Canadians.
He likes hammer time. He just doesn't like hammers.
How to cut waste, cut red tape, streamline the bureaucracy, change procurement rules, change the personnel rules, and create a government that works better and costs less.
Yeah, where's Al Gore right now? Where the fuck is Al Gore right now? What is he saying about all this shit?
Says the president should, the president will.
Among the 800 recommendations, eliminating 12% of the federal workforce, merging some government agencies like the FBI, the DEA, and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, closing hundreds of government offices outside Washington.
From the day I took office, one of the commitments that I made to the American people was that we would do a better job here in Washington in rooting out wasteful spending. We thought that it was entirely appropriate for our governments and our agencies to try to root out waste, large and small, in a systematic way. It means cutting some programs that I think are worthy, but we may not be able to afford right now. A lot of the action is in Congress, legislative, but in the meantime, we don't need to wait for Congress in order to do something about wasteful spending that's out there. We haven't seen as much action out of Congress as we'd like, and that's why we launched on our own initiative the campaign.
Now they're fighting against it.
And we're going to keep on finding every possible way that we can do that, even if Congress is not active. There you go.
I mean, honestly, dude, that's why people like Democrats. Liked them, past tense.
They're not the same. They're not the same. Obama was the last time they were anything. Now that they've changed, gone completely psycho.
Do you think Obama sold out by the time he left? Like, I feel like he was very on point when he came into office, but then something happened. Like, because he was going to get rid of Gitmo, he was going to like stop all these wars that we were in, get us out of fucking Iraq and Afghanistan. You know?
Oh, he was just sweet talking to everybody. That's all he was doing.
I mean, he got Bin Laden, so let's give him credit.
Well, he didn't, but they still did.
Yeah,
he pulled him out and gave him the address eventually. We know.
Yeah.
Did they? I've never seen proof.
Yeah, we did throw a covered body up in the ocean.
That's true. They didn't give him his burial rights as a Muslim.
Well, they also gave him an unceremonious burial at sea without verifying his identity or taking any fucking like DNA evidence or anything. So that's kind of suspicious.
He's probably on the island.
Yeah, he's probably hanging out on Epstein Island right now.
I can see that. Yeah, the island's still there.
Or he died like 2004, 2005 from not having dialysis treatments.
Oh.
All right, listen to this fucking teacher crash out over political stuff. This is ridiculous.
And the only thing that bothers me more than him is all the Republican senators and congressmen who just keep going along with it. It's not because they believe in it. You got to know they don't believe in it. They don't believe in any of it. They're just afraid that he's going to talk smack about them on Truth Social, and then they're going to lose their job in an election. So they're just doing whatever he says, which is the worst possible thing, because that's called a dictatorship. Jesus Christ, you don't see that? I'm not kidding. When I say wipe that smile off, I don't care if that's a detention. I just wrote you a referral mentally. You're going to detention for bringing up politics in class. You want to go for two? Control yourself, man. Yo. Excuse me? Excuse me? After all I put up with you for the last 2 years and talked you up and stood your back when they threatened you, you what? You say what? What? Are you serious? Treating me with that disrespect? Are you serious? Are you serious? Are you serious? If I could take back your letter of recommendation from college right now, I would. You talk to me like that? After everything I've done for you? Are you kidding me?
Apparently this teacher got fired, by the way.
Good.
Good.
Yeah.
Anybody like that teaching your
Don't
students
ever
left
talk
or
to me
right
again
is
personally.
not
You can ask questions in class.
What's that? Sorry?
Anybody who left or right, whatever. Anybody who's that politically leaning should not be molding kids' minds.
No.
Correct.
I agree.
Absolutely. Even if it's, a political class, you should still be neutral.
And not only that, but then you try to hold stuff over the kid's head because you recommended him stuff. That's stupid.
For real, man. That's
Good
epically
God.
terrible
Why?
on
'Cause
multiple
he
levels.
said, calm down, bro. Like,
Yeah. Don't pop a fucking blood vessel, bro. Damn.
like, Jesus. It's not like he was even like, I love Trump. He was like, calm down, man. Like, take it easy. Really?
This is probably one of the activist teachers that gave kids extra credit to go to protesting.
Oh, there was a lot of that, too. Like, a lot of that protesting and stuff was, hey, do you want to get your grade from a D to a B? Do you want to get rid of that F? Come to the anti-Trump rally in Denver tonight.
That teacher sounds like he's going to run for office.
And then afterwards, we can take pictures of you in a bikini in the back of my van.
Usually that's a lot of teachers do the whole protest. That's usually the
like
lady teachers.
The wife of judge blocking Trump administration is USAID grant recipient.
Mm-hmm.
Can anyone point out the problem with that? Well, the main problem, I'll point it out. The main problem is that if you are a judge and you were proceeding over a case, whether or not there is impropriety, whether or not you have an interest in the case beyond what it is as a judge that you should have an interest, if there is even the perception from the general population, from the public, that you have some sort of a stake in the case, one way or another, what are you supposed to do as the judge?
Recuse yourself.
Yeah, you're not even supposed to make a judgment. If anyone even thinks it, you're supposed to be like, oh shit, you know what? I can see how you guys think that. Let me go ahead and recuse myself and give it to another judge. But they don't do that. And moreover, they judge shop for these people because they know who it is in which district, in which court, at what time to take which case so that she'll get favorable judgment from the person, from the judge. So it's all fucking bullshit. It's another level of corruption. And it's another level of like when people are like, whoa, you're a rule of law. Don't you believe in the justice system? Like, kind of. I believe in the concept of it. The current application, iteration, usage of it seems to be, at least in part, pretty fucking corrupt.
Yep.
So
it's the exact same thing that Bloomberg and his anti-gun cunts do all the time with gun rates. They'll try to go to some leftist circuit court or something like that and get them to rule on the shit in his favor.
Weekend. So I was going through some old posts from like 4 years ago. I forgot how bad these were, dude. Watch this shit. This is from a protest in Denver, from it was a Back the Blue rally, pro-cop rally that they were doing that got surrounded by like 10,000 Antifa people, got violent, people got assaulted on the stage. One of the senators, like the state senators from Colorado, got attacked and had to like leave in some random woman's car. Like it was crazy, dude. And no one got charged with any crimes. No one ever, I don't even remember this shit. It happened in my fucking state. So there's that. But yeah, watch.
So over the weekend, left-wing terrorists, and they are associated with Antifa, attacked a pro-police rally, Back the Blue, in Denver, Colorado. Colorado State Representative Patrick Neville spoke at the rally. He joins us tonight. Mr. Neville, thanks so much for coming on. I read your pre-interview, and it made my heart beat fast. I don't know if we have enough time for you to go through the whole thing, but give us the kind of summary of what you experienced this weekend at this rally.
Well, essentially, we went up there and knowing that it would be dangerous, we actually had some volunteers accompany us from a local gun shop, DCF Guns, in my district, myself and Michelle Malkin. And we were essentially surrounded by Antifa. I mean, we're talking outnumbered 4-1. We were actually lower in elevation than them, the way the facility worked out. And we were completely surrounded. And then before I know it, we were on stage. Well, behind us, one of my friends was beaten down by 4 to 5 Antifa members. The folks that we had there volunteering had to kick those folks off of him. And then eventually we had to actually evacuate. And had it not been, quite frankly, for someone who I'd met moments before, ushering us into her car, I don't know if we would have gotten out of there unscathed. I mean, meantime, we were pushed around, we were spit on, we had things thrown at us. Michelle Malkin lost one of her shoes. My friend was severely beaten, had a black eye after it was done. We didn't have a single chance to speak. I mean, the band barely started even playing. And all this occurred right on the stage of the facility where we were supposed to be having our rally. It wasn't like it was a minor scuffle on the outskirts of the rally. It was right there on the stage.
You're a lawmaker. I mean, what country is this? And more to the point, where were the police? Why wasn't someone protecting you?
Stand down orders.
And that is the concern. I mean, I'm the House Republican leader in Colorado, the House Minority Leader.
Because it turns out the other thing that you can control is law enforcement. And if you just get the head of whatever law enforcement organization, like the police chief in New York City or whoever, to be paid for and bought and on your side, when there are things going on, you can be like, stand down order, and he'll do it. And he'll give his people the orders. They're like, I don't know. They told me not to go, so we're not going. And no one knows why. But now you know why, because they're bought and paid for. They're USAID. They're fucking George Soros paid for prosecutors and like that kind of thing. But the same thing with police chiefs. But yeah.
And so if it can happen to me and they can prevent me from speaking, they can really do this to anyone. And so it's really concerning because I think the order probably came up to stand down. We had the police union chief out there actually saying there was a stand down order. I don't know if that came from the mayor or even the governor, but we've had a serious problem with complete lawlessness here in Denver. and to the point where you can't even show up to what should be a family-friendly Back the Blue rally, a properly permitted rally, and we were just totally attacked by thugs committing total violence to try to silence our speech.
You have media outlets in Denver. It's a big city. Did this get any coverage, the violence against you?
No, in fact, actually the opposite happened. We had a local anchor here, Kyle Clark, who was tweeting out. And
Kyle Clark. Have you guys heard that name? Have you heard me talk bitch about this motherfucker before?
Sure have.
Yeah, many times. Because, again, what's the other thing you do? Oh, you get the media on your side. You get prominent media personalities who are bought and paid for, who are going to push your propaganda and gaslight people and do all. Yeah, like listen to what he fucking said.
Basically making fun of the situation, and even said there was bonus points for those people who can identify me. And then,
so he was encouraging people to identify the elected official for what reason? Why would they identify him? Oh, maybe to physically assault them and attack. So really, Kyle Clark, in effect, instigated this whole thing against, the Back the Blue rally in Denver, and people got hurt, and dude got his nose broke, and they had to flee. That's all because Kyle Clark, dude. I mean, not all, but he definitely had a hand in it.
It's pretty crazy to be going to a rally like that, and then just think about it. You're going to support the police. You're going to support the blue line, and then the people in blue don't even come and help you when something like this goes down.
Yeah,
you've got to be. Yeah, you got to be left shocked and being like, well, do I even support this cause anymore? Because, man, they weren't even there, and we were supporting them.
Well, I mean, if you remember, that's why there were all these Back the Blue rallies and stuff, because there was such lawlessness at the time and police were being blamed for things that may or may not have been their fault. And
it feels like Emperor Palpatine shit. Sorry to interrupt. It feels really dark if they're doing what you're saying, where it's they controlled the news, so the news wasn't there, and then they also controlled the police, so the police weren't there. Yet this was a rally for them. That's some Emperor Palpatine. You're playing both sides against each other.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. I'm glad you see
didn't
it.
Interrupt, but
No, that's great. Terrible. I'm glad you see it, dude. Because these concepts are difficult to explain, and they're difficult to grasp and convey to someone, especially who doesn't see it. Get them on the. Yeah, man, it's a journey to get there. So I'm glad you're there, man.
Yeah, your show is cool, man. Your show is cool. It's super insightful, and I like it. Everybody on here is super awesome. Obviously, the fans are great. I love the comments. It's so entertaining.
Sorry, I'm having late dinner right now. I'm trying to eat too.
You all good, brother?
So good.
What you eating?
Chicken and rice and hot sauce.
I got that's the go-to.
I'm letting my black out right now.
Leo Red out there in the comments, he can suck balls too.
The fans suck balls. Yeah, I was just looking at all these retweets. This is all from November 10th, 2020, November 2nd, 2020. From when I bought my tickets to go to Washington, D.C., where I'm like, hey, Mike Cernovich, I will be in D.C. for January 20th live streaming. Let me know, and I will drop in with you and blah, blah, blah. I'm trying to get people on board with it. This is before January 6th. This is before anyone, it was a whole month before January 6th even happened. And, we all thought January 20th would be the crazy day, but I'm really, 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 really thankful that I wasn't there on January 6th. Because of the lawfare that I would have been caught up in, potentially, Or at very least, the black cloud hanging over my head of not knowing if or when the federal government's going to break in my front door and fucking violate everything, That's a black cloud you don't want. That's a black cloud that a whole fuck ton of Americans have had to deal with for the past 4 years. And that's gone now because of Trump. And I'm thankful for that. You know, some of them maybe broke the law, but what they didn't get was their day in court. What they didn't get was proper defense and representation of their rights as American citizens. You're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. And they were just guilty until thrown in jail, you know? So, yeah, I'm super thankful for that. And that's the show, man. That's all I had tweeted. So we've gone through all my stories. You guys got anything else you want to talk about now? Carol Baskins?
Make sure you like, share, and sub to E Honda 420.
Yep.
That bitch killed her husband.
I'm gonna go play with a scorpion now.
All right, guys. This chicken is delicious, by the way.
Chicken.
All right. Well, we will see you all next time. Thank you for tuning in. Deuces, y'all. Sean P and Fridge. I got a little something special for you. You ready?
I want to talk to you, motherfucker. Call me. Call me. Call me.